Hello and welcome to another edition of This Week in High School Sports. Before we jump into this week's action, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our fine sponsor, Red Onion Burgers over in Mountlake Terrace. Red Onion, we talked about it over the last couple of weeks and want to give you one final reminder. Next Sunday is Mother's Day, and Red Onion has a 7-station meal special, especially for mom, $14.97 for all 7 stations, and that will be running from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., so get on over and take mom out to a nice meal over at Red Onion Burgers in Mountlake Terrace. Now, on to the action. It is May, and that means we're into postseason play for many of our spring sports. We're going to start off by talking about soccer this week. 3 different teams playing in district tournaments. One, not so much luck. The other 2 did fine, though. Edmonds-Woodway, they lose their opening game to Squalicum 2-0. This is a double elimination district tournament, so Edmonds-Woodway is still, in fact, alive. They'll be hosting Marysville-Pilchuck Tuesday night at 5:30 in the consolation bracket as they try to make it back to the state tournament. The other 2 teams, however, from Edmonds School District doing just fine. Lynnwood picks up a 2-0 victory over Marysville-Pilchuck. They move on to the semifinals of the district tournament. They will be playing Squalicum, the team we just mentioned that defeated Edmonds-Woodway. And I might add a Squalicum team that is undefeated in play so far this year. That game will take place Tuesday at 6 p.m. That's over at Shoreline Stadium. And then we've got the Mountlake Terrace Hawks. They moved over to the 2A district tournament and playing a team they're not familiar with, the Cedar Crest Red Wolves. Saturday night at Edmonds Stadium, 0-0 after regulation. Nobody scores in overtime. We head to penalty kicks. And this is where things get interesting. Both teams converting all 5 of their penalty kicks means they have to go to a 6th kicker. Mountlake Terrace brings in Genaro Ruiz, who's their goalkeeper. He hits the penalty kick, and then he's got to turn right back around and get into goal. He stops the Cedar Crest player from scoring their goal. Mountlake Terrace wins, and they move on to the semifinal of the District 2 tournament. And rather than just talk about it and give you more details, we thought we'd bring 2 of those players in from the Hawks. Here are goalkeeper Genaro Ruiz, as well as midfielder Bobby Stoyanov, the Bulgarian bulldozer, to talk more about Mountlake Terrace soccer. The Mountlake Terrace Hawks soccer team won a thrilling first-round district playoff game on Saturday night over at Edmonds Stadium, defeating Cedar Crest 0-0, and then winning it on penalty kicks, of all things. And with us right now, 2 of the stars from the game and 2 of the stars for the season. Genaro Ruiz, who is the goalkeeper for Mountlake Terrace, and Bobby Stoyanov, who is a midfielder for Mountlake Terrace. And gentlemen, first of all, congratulations on getting that first-round victory. What a game, Bobby. I mean, back and forth all night, nobody able to score. What was the atmosphere like?
I mean, it was a big game. They had a lot of fans there, so, I mean, you couldn't even tell if it was a home game almost. They had a lot of people chanting, screaming, and it was just a back-and-forth game, and luckily, when it mattered most, Genaro here stepped up and saved us the winning PK after he even scored his. So.
Yeah, Genaro, let's talk about, first of all, before we get into the PKs, talk about the regulation. 0-0, but it wasn't that easy for you. You had to save quite a few balls, right?
Yeah, I actually had a lot of shots on target, for more than what I expected.
And then you guys get into PKs, penalty kicks, where it's you played the overtime, nobody scores, so now the game's going to be decided on penalty kicks. And Bobby, each team gets 5 penalty kicks to start off. First round, everybody makes their PKs, is that correct?
Yeah, every single one of us made our PKs. Got a little lucky with our 4th one. John shoots it before the ref blows the whistle and misses, so he gets to retake it and puts us away. And then we go to sudden death, which is our after 5, and the 6th one, Genaro scores, and then he saves the next guy and go off celebrating.
So, yeah, let's talk about that now. So, Genaro, you are actually one of the members of the team that takes a penalty kick, which is unique. You don't normally see the goalkeeper come up and get a chance to score a goal. I've got to think that's a unique situation for you. Had you ever been in that predicament before?
Yeah, I've actually shot in 4th and 3rd before. I feel really confident shooting PKs.
So you make your penalty kick, which gives you guys a 6-5 lead. Cedar Crest then has a chance to tie it with their 6th kick, and walk me through that play.
As the striker walks up, I hand him the ball, and it's just it was time to go home. I told him I'm gonna block it.
You actually told him you were gonna block it?
I told him I was gonna block it.
Very confident.
Probably got into his head, or I don't know. I just felt confident. Dove to the right side, and blocked it.
Kind of an interesting experience too, having to win a game on penalty kicks of all things. Are you guys in favor of that, or would you rather just play out the game until somebody scores? Bobby, I should ask you because you're the one that's actually running around in the field. How would you like to see these games decided?
I'd rather have it done in open play, but when it's golden goal, that just makes it even tougher for everyone because one goal and it's over. So, you take what you can get, but I'd rather have it finished in play. It's a lot more fun that way.
So you guys now move on to the semifinals of the district tournament. Top 3 teams are going to advance to state, and it is a double elimination tournament. So a big game coming up Tuesday night. You play Liberty at Edmonds Stadium. This is a team that you guys aren't that familiar with. I know they like to score a lot. They've had 7 games this year in which they've scored 3 goals or more, but they're also vulnerable to giving up some goals. Bobby, I'll start with you. As a player who has scored 16 goals yourself this year, are you kind of licking your chops when you look on a schedule and see a team that's given up a handful of goals at times?
Oh, yeah. That's the best thing you can see as a striker, the vulnerable defense. So hopefully our team just rallies around that and puts them away early and makes it easier for Genaro.
And Genaro, you've got a team coming up here that's had 7 different games this year in which they've scored 3 goals or more. I've got to think that you've got to be on your toes, so to speak, in this game too. Are you excited to get to this one on Tuesday?
I am excited, but I don't think they're gonna score more than 3 goals on us.
I like the attitude there. I like the belief. And I've got to think a little bit too. You guys are into 2A action now. Again, you guys play in Wesco 3A during the regular season. A little bit different this year in that you've been accustomed in the past to playing in district tournaments where you already know the teams. Mm-hmm. Liberty, is this a team we've had a chance to scout at all, Bobby? Do you know much about them?
I have a couple of friends that do play in Kinko, so I asked them about them, and they just gave me the rundown of their defense and weaknesses and strengths. So hopefully it helps us out, and we tactically beat them, and we go off to the district championship after that.
There we go. So we can't say it enough. Tuesday, 7:30. The game is over at Edmonds Stadium. A chance to watch these guys advance to the district championship game. And at that point, if you make the district championship game, you automatically advance to the state tournament. So this is a big game on Tuesday night. Don't want to look too far ahead, and I know Coach Dermesis, I'm sure, doesn't want me to either, but I've got to ask, if you win this game against Liberty, you're going to play the winner of Linden Archbishop Murphy in the district championship. That would be next Saturday at Cedro Woolley. Have you guys started thinking about those 2 teams a little bit? Hard not to think about Archbishop Murphy. They're the 2-time defending state champs, and they don't give up very many goals. And Genaro, I guess you guys played against them in a jamboree this year, right?
Yeah, we did. We tied them 0-0 in a 20-minute half.
So you know who they are a little bit, and
yeah.
Does that kind of give you guys a little extra confidence if you do in fact end up playing them next Saturday? Would you think that you're a little more comfortable knowing that they're not just a team on paper, but a team you've seen in person and you feel pretty comfortable with?
Yeah, I feel comfortable playing them, but not every game's the same. And then again, we didn't have Bobby that game.
And that was for the jamboree.
Yeah, that was for the jamboree.
And Bobby, what are your thoughts about maybe making it to that district championship game? You guys have never won a district championship. Last year you had to advance to the state tournament through the consolation bracket. What would that mean for you guys?
Being district champions would just be another thing that was our goal in the beginning of the season, and if we can complete that, that'd be amazing. We're going to have to go through a long road to get there because Murphy's a really talented team. As you've seen, back-to-back state champs. They're going to be a big threat for us, but, I think anything's possible. And with a guy like Genaro in the back of our net and the defense we have and the team we have around us, I think we can put up a good game against them.
Now, tell me a little bit about the legacy you guys are starting to leave at Mountlake Terrace. This is a program that was very strong in the 70s and 80s. For whatever reason, things kind of dropped off around the mid to early 90s. You guys had a 22-year drought where you didn't even make the state tournament. You guys ended that drought last year, and now you're on the verge of maybe going back again. Bobby, what does it mean for you guys knowing that you could be the first team to go back-to-back in almost 3 decades?
That's the kind of stuff you play for, really. It's been a goal of ours since last year, when we went into the playoffs, our motto was why lose, and luckily we rattled off 3 wins consecutively and made it to the state tournament, and we got to taste what that was like. And hopefully we do it again this year because that's soccer you want to be playing in the state tournament. That's where all the best teams play. So
now, and we need to make sure we talk a little more about you two and your individual games as well, because both of you have had phenomenal seasons. And I'm going to have you talk about one another here and make it a little bit easier. Genaro, I'm going to start with you. You've got a guy next to you here that has scored 16 goals. He's got 10 assists. I'll just come out and say I think he's having kind of an all-state type of a year, and he's only a junior. What has Bobby meant to this Hawks soccer team?
Bobby's just our top scorer. Brings the energy to the field, and when we need him the most, he shows up, does the job, and basically carries us on his back.
And
I do my job, he does his job. It's just
And it leads to a 12-5
Yeah.
record, right, essentially. Bobby, what about Genaro? 10 clean sheets so far this year, 10 shutouts in 17 matches. That's pretty impressive in itself. You guys have only given up 11 goals all season. Tell me about the goalkeeper here.
I mean, it's crazy because we play in like such a good league. Westco 3A is just a really dominant league with a lot of good teams, and the fact that we have a guy here who has 10 shutouts just says a lot about him and his ability to play goalkeeper, really. We already have a solid back line, but when it goes down and falters, having this guy back there is the best thing you could have. You know, easily first team all Westco this year, and hopefully he can even be able to stay. I mean, he has proved it on and on.
They both have that kind of talent, but it's not just the two of you out there, right? So we want to make sure we reference a few other guys here. Genaro, I'll have you tell me a little bit about the defense. I know you got some help back there as well. Tell me who some of the guys are playing directly in front of you.
Sam Poloboy. I honestly do not know what I would do without him. I mean, I do have a lot of saves, but he keeps me out of trouble so many times. And it's just like the way he plays, like as our captain, uplifting our back line, like helping Ryan Dunn, Cody, and just takes control, like as that leadership role.
And that's Cody Nickel you were referencing.
Yeah,
there, too.
Cody Nickel.
So good job for those guys. Bobby, tell me a little bit about the front line and maybe the midfielder as well. Who are we working with there?
Yeah, we just changed having the 3 in the middle, and it's been working really well for us. And yesterday we even did it without Paco, who's a really key player to our team, center mid. But this year Gavin has stepped in and played a really good game, really good season so far.
That's Gavin Scott.
Gavin Scott, and as well as our wingers were really good, even though we lost one of our starting wingers, Diego, with a ACL tear. But that's the thing about our team, you know, we have guys step in like Ryan Kaufman and still plays well. I mean, we don't really have guys who lower the level of play we have. We have a lot of good guys. Max Jackson is a really good winger. We have Aaron Cox Jr. Played a really solid role in center defending mid, and you know, can't ask for anything more. The guys are playing really well.
And that seems to be a unit that's played extremely well together this year and led you to a number of victories. Looking beyond this season, Bobby, you're only a junior, so you got a little bit of time, but I know you're already taking some college trips. And Genaro, you're a senior. What does the future hold for you guys in terms of soccer? Genaro, I'll ask you first, since you're the older one here.
Well, I think I'm just going to continue on playing soccer and go to Shoreline CC.
And Shoreline CC is coached by who?
George Jamusis as well.
You're your head coach at Mountlake Terrace,
Yeah.
so convenient there. So coach knows a good thing when he has one, and he's going to bring you along with him to Shoreline. Bobby, what about you? What are your plans for after 2018?
I have a really big summer coming up, so I just need to play really well. But I'm trying to go D1. I'm getting looks from some schools like Syracuse, UC Davis, UCLA, all down there. So I just need to play well when I go down to California. And hopefully, you know, things align for me nicely.
And Syracuse, out of New York, is a top 10 caliber program. And I know you took a recruiting trip there this year. Tell me about that experience.
It was a really nice experience. I got to play with the players there and some of the guys, and you know, they're a really, really good team. You know, that's another level of soccer, and I'd love to be a part of that program if I could. So I'll just keep working to get there.
He will keep working indeed. But before that, he's going to go through this district tournament and hopefully play on to next week at the state tournament as well. Guys, again, congratulations on the win over Cedar Crest this weekend. Best of luck on Tuesday against Liberty at Edmonds Stadium, 7:30 start time. So we encourage folks to get out there. And hopefully next week we'll be talking about a district championship game from next Saturday. Bobby,
Thank you very
Genaro,
much.
thank you guys for coming in, and best of luck this week. Great to have Genaro and Bobby in studio. We've had the pleasure of broadcasting a few of those Mountlake Terrace soccer games this year. Each of which has been very exciting and thrilling to say the least, and we're expecting nothing short of another one on Tuesday. Again, they play against Liberty High School at Edmonds Stadium, 7:30. They win that game, they advance not only to the district championship, but they'd also advance to the state tournament at that point. Moving on to another sport that is into postseason play, it's baseball. And unfortunately for one of our teams, the Meadowdale Mavericks, their season came to an end last week as they lost a play-in game trying to get into the district tournament. Our other three teams, however, are all still alive at this point, one of which pulled off a nice victory. We'll show a picture here. We've got Costa Cooper, who we've had in studio here earlier this year, the catcher, putting a tag on a Stanwood Spartan runner. Edmonds-Woodway wins that game 8-6, and in doing so, they advance to the district semifinals. Another picture from that game that we would like to share at this time is Ian Michael, who's playing a little outfield there. Again, that is from the victory over Stanwood. So Edmonds-Woodway moves on to the semifinals, where they will take on Snohomish, 4 p.m. at Meridian Fields on Tuesday. That's over at Shoreline. And two other teams that are also playing district play right now. two teams that are going to have to do it the hard way through the consolation bracket. Lynnwood loses to Arlington, and that game was 6-2 on Saturday. They will play Marysville-Pilchuck on Tuesday at 4 p.m. over at Lynnwood High School. Again, that's a consolation bracket loser out game, so Lynnwood needs to win that game in order to keep their state tournament hopes alive. Someone doing a similar, taking a similar path, if you will, the Mountlake Terrace Hawks. They picked up a nice victory last week over Cedar Crest. That game, they won 4-1, and by doing so, they advanced to the district tournament where they lost their first round game on Saturday to Anacortes. Final score was 3-1. Mountlake Terrace now moves into the consolation bracket where they will play Seahome 3 p.m. Tuesday at Anacortes. So again, Edmonds-Woodway, big semifinal game coming up this week, hoping to get into the championship game of districts. Lynnwood and Mountlake Terrace having to do it through the consolation bracket, and we wish all three of those teams nothing but the best. We're going to shift our attention now to softball. This is a sport that is not in league or district play yet. They're still playing out their regular season, but nonetheless, some thrilling action going on. We're going to start off with Meadowdale, and we have a picture here of Lauren Dent, the Meadowdale Maverick pitcher, who won a state championship for the Mavs last year. Meadowdale defeated Edmonds-Woodway on Friday 6-5, and in doing so, Meadowdale clinches a no worse than second place finish in Wesco 3A South as they widen the gap between themselves and Edmonds-Woodway. Meadowdale, they've got a game against Shorewood on Monday this week. If they win that game, and if Mountlake Terrace defeats Lynnwood on Monday, which we expect both of those to happen, that sets up a Meadowdale versus Mountlake Terrace matchup on Tuesday. Final regular season game of the year for both teams, 4 p.m. start over at Mountlake Terrace High School. These teams are separated by one game right now. If Mountlake Terrace wins that game, they win the league title outright. If Meadowdale wins it, then the two of those schools will be co-champions. So a big game coming up, and we'll also be broadcasting that on SoundLiveSportsNetwork.com. We won't have that game up live. It'll be tape delayed. So if you want to watch it live, you need to get over to Mountlake Terrace High School. Again, that is 4 p.m. on Tuesday. One other team we don't want to leave out this week, though, is the Lynnwood Royals, as their girls' season is about to come to an end. They had their final home game the other day, and it was senior day. And we've got a picture to put up here of Maddie Morgan, who we've had the pleasure of having in studio in the past. Maddie's heading off to Alabama to play for the Crimson Tide next year. And in this game against Shorecrest, not only did Maddie get the victory on the mound, she also hit a 3-run homer in her last home at bat. Again, they won the game 5-3. And we have one other picture we want to put up since it was senior day. The three Lynnwood Royal teammates who play on that softball team. You've got Maddie Morgan, Mac Johnson in the middle, and then Mickey Tuafete over on Mac's left. Those three, again, playing their last home game, and congratulations to them on a nice career over at Lynnwood, and we certainly wish them nothing but the best. Now we're going to talk about track. The Edmonds School District Championships took place on Friday over at the Edmonds Stadium. Edmonds-Woodway, great performance from them. Their girls won the Edmonds School District Championship outright. The boys tied Lynnwood. You don't see ties very often in track, but in fact, they had the same amount of points. So in order to talk more about the Edmonds-Woodway teams and their successes over the weekend, we brought in a boy and a girl from the team to talk about their championships. So here's the interview we did with Aaron and Ella. And as we just mentioned, the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors picking up victories at the Edmonds School District Championships on both the girls' side, co-champions on the boys' side with the Lynnwood Royals. And with us right now, two of the members from the Warriors track and field team, Ella Spillane and Aaron Richardson. Both of you, congratulations on an Edmonds School District Championship. I know that ultimately the goal is to get to state and to do well at districts, but when you're going up against the other schools in your school district, I've got to think there's a lot of school pride on the line. I know there's a trophy involved as well. Ella, what does it mean to win the Edmonds School District Championship?
I mean, for me, being my senior year, it was really great to have that with like a memory with my team. I know when I came on as a freshman, we had like a 13-year winning streak against everyone, and after losing some incredible athletes my freshman year, sophomore year, we lost it to Lynnwood, and it's been great to get it back my senior year and hopefully start a new consecutive victory. Yeah,
Lynnwood had won that 2 years in a row, and then you took it back on Friday night. And Aaron, for you guys, a little bit different in that I think we all kind of figured coming into Friday that Edmonds-Woodway girls were the team to beat. We knew Edmonds-Woodway and Lynnwood were going to be running neck and neck, no pun intended. But all of a sudden we have a tie when the points come out, which is very unique. You don't hear that very often. Were you surprised at that, or what were you expecting?
Oh, it was a huge surprise. I mean, we all knew that coming into this meet is going to be really close. I mean, the Lynnwood boys have gotten a lot stronger since last year. So coming in this meet, we knew it was going to be close, and I mean, it was a huge surprise when it was a tie. We weren't expecting a tie. And
you both did your part to make sure that your team was either champion or co-champion. And Ella, I'm going to start with you. You were victorious in the 4x100 and the 4x200. Same 3 girls in both races, correct?
Yeah.
And one that we're not used to seeing with you. We know you normally run with Gabby Chappelle and Hannah Hicks, but Morgan Davis was out with a concussion, precautionary. She could have run, but they're saving her for next week. So Kira Hicks, Hannah's younger sister, stepped in and ran with you. Tell me about those 2 races and what is it like? Because there is a chemistry when you're exchanging the baton. I've got to think it's not that easy just to plug somebody else in. The 4 of you are used to running together this year. What was it like to run that race without Morgan, and how did Kira do?
I mean, I love running with Morgan. It definitely is a chemistry, but it was exciting to see Hannah Hicks step up and Kira, both of them this year, because they both were plugged into the relay kind of unexpectedly with the loss of other teammates this year. And they've done incredible, and it's been exciting to see them get the chance to do that with Kira. Like, she may not have gotten that chance this year if that had not happened, and for her to do that, because I know she'll be on the relay next year, it's such a great experience for her, and she did awesome. We had no issues. Our handoff was great. Practicing throughout the week, we practiced our handoffs, and she stepped up and did amazing. There were no issues. She really was able to perform very competitively.
And we do want to put up a picture, too. We have a picture of you and Hannah exchanging your baton right there. And again, never an easy thing, right? That's Hannah in front of you there. Is that the number 2 and 3 leg? Is that correct?
Yeah, so I run number 2 and she runs number 3.
And you guys do it very well. Now we want to talk about Erin's performances. You won the 100 and the 300 meter hurdles. 2 Lynnwood performers who are usually kind of running right up there with you. I know Eli Edwards and Jerry Pham, the 3 of you have had some good battles this year. Always tough when you go up against those 2 guys as well as the rest of the field. Take me through your runs. I know the 100, you won it by over a second, a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be for you. Did you know right away coming out of the gate that you had a good one?
Actually, no. I mean, coming over that first hurdle, Jerry Pham was actually in the lead ahead of me and Elijah, so I knew this was going to be a tough race coming into the race. And I mean, halfway through that race, I was starting to gain the lead, but I mean, it was never an easy race until the very end. They're both great competitors. I mean, competing against them for the last couple of years has always been great.
And then in the 300, Eli taking a nice lead coming into that last turn there. I think you had to finally pass him on the backstretch. What was that like for you?
I gotta say that was the hardest race I've ever ran against somebody else. I mean, I really had to pick up my pace coming off of that curve. Yeah, he was definitely in the lead. I mean, I was watching the film the other day, and I'm surprised I even came back from that much of a deficit behind him. And it was definitely a struggle, and I'm excited to see how it comes in the next couple weeks running against him.
Now, you set out the 4x100 on Friday for precautionary reasons. Again, you're dealing with a little bit of an injury. Are you going to be back doing the 4x100?
Absolutely. I'll be running the 400 on Wednesday when we compete again.
And who are you running that with?
I'll be running it with Chris.
It's Chris Tilbury.
Chris Tilbury, Zach, and we're still figuring out our 4th leg, so we'll see when that comes up. But I think it's going to be Durande.
And that's over at Edmonds Stadium for the 3A District, Westco District South Championships. Yeah, yes. So that's coming up. I've always got to ask hurdlers, too. I'm always curious because for folks like myself who don't hurdle very well or don't jump as well, I look at a nice flat track, and it seems like it's ideal for running fast on, and you guys tend to make it more difficult by putting hurdles in the way. What is it about the sport that appeals to you? Why do you like hurdling so much?
Because I think sprinting is just way too easy. I mean,
I'm sure your teammates are loving that.
Every time I work with the sprinters, I gotta let them know I'm a hurdler. You know, when we do our chants, I have to be 1, 2, 3 hurdlers, even on with the sprinters, because you gotta let them know. Hurdlers are the real deal.
So when did you get into hurdling? How did that come about?
I started hurdling in the 7th grade. We actually tried it out in a PE class, and actually growing up, I was watching Alec Fellows. My sister ran with Alec Fellows, who's a hurdler at Oregon. He might have graduated by now, but I've always taken an interest in hurdles ever since then. watching him, and then started in 7th grade and hurdled ever since.
Very good. And then speaking of sprinters, one of your sprinters right next to you here, you ran 2 other races on Friday night. You finished second to Rita Sakharov in the 100 and 200. I'm sure winning is always best, but taking second against somebody like Rita is certainly not a bad thing. And to pick up more points for your team, that had to be
Yeah,
important.
no, I love running with Rita. Like, it's definitely one of my favorite races. After the end, whoever finishes first or second, we always give each other a hug. I was just with her last night doing homework. Like, I've known her since 3rd grade. We went to elementary school together, and ever since then, it's been a competition, but it's always super friendly and fun. And getting into the blocks and seeing her either behind me or ahead of me just makes it even more incredible to be competing with a friend.
And Rita picking up 4 victories herself the other day, so she had a very successful Friday night. I want to talk a little bit about some of your teammates here too. Obviously, this is a team, both boys and girls, that are just loaded this year. Ella, we'll start with you. Tell me a little bit about some of your sprinter teammates. We've already mentioned the names: Gabby, Hannah, Morgan, Kira. Tell me what it's like to run with them.
It's awesome. They're just like the liveliest group of girls. They're so sweet and competitive and fun. And every day I go out on the track and I have a good day. If I go to school, have a bad day, get to track, awesome day. They always push each other, whether it's in sprinting or our E-days where we're doing workouts. We're always patting each other on the back, and it really has become a family. We really are like sisters on our relay team, and that's what appeals to me about relays, is that you have such a chemistry, and you're running, but you're running for 3 other people too, and that closeness that we all have just really bonds us. And so running is just, it makes it fun when you have those kind of people around you.
And not only do you have great sprinting teams, you have great distance teams as
Yeah.
well. I'm going to put up a picture here. It was the final event the other night, the 4x400. Olivia Meter-Yetter, who, wow, what a lap she had there. She had to
Yeah.
come from behind to get that's the finish line right there. She just edged out the Mountlake Terrace relay team for first place with Olivia and Yuki, Stephanie, and some of them. What's it like to run with all of those girls? And is there a competition amongst the sprinters and the distance runners?
Well, this year we did have them come on and do a workout with us, and there were a few little 200s where they were showing us who was boss, but I mean, we brought it back. But no, they're incredible. They're just the greatest group of girls on the distance team. And that picture shows that when it comes to winning and competing, they will finish all the way through the end. Like, there's no slowing down for them towards the end. They'll compete until they're across that finish line, and they do not give up. And coming from the behind with Olivia, it was just incredible to watch her short little stride against Mountlake Terrace. I can't remember if it was Jessica or whoever. Long stride, and that did not stop her. She just kept going and pushing until she was across that finish line and beat her.
And got her right at the finish line, indeed. Aaron, similar question for you. Tell me about some of your teammates. Who pushes you in practice?
Chris Tilbury, absolutely. I mean, I've been running with him since 7th grade, or 8th grade. Actually, he joined track, but playing football with him too for the last, few years. He's obviously one of my biggest competitors and one that pushes me the most.
And not only the shorter distances, but the longer distances. We have a picture of Matthew Park. This is him winning the 1600 the other night. Also won the 800. Sam McLuhan right behind him, who took the 3200 title. So plenty of Edmonds-Woodway runners to go around at all distances, right? It's got to be fun for you guys to watch each other perform when you're not running.
Absolutely, I love watching those guys run. We hang out after every meet. We're great friends. They come over and kick our butts in the workouts. The distance teams are great. It's fun running with them, and I'm absolutely gonna miss them next year. I don't know how it's gonna be without them.
Sure. Well, you do have a little more time left with them, which is fun. You've got the Wesco South Championships coming up this weekend. Again, I think it's Wednesday and Friday at Edmonds Stadium. Then it's on to districts the following week at Shoreline, and then hopefully on to Tahoma, down in Tacoma, where you will try to maybe win some state championships. What are the future goals for both of you in terms of looking ahead over the next couple of weeks? Ella, I'll start with you. I know your 4x100 team right now currently has the 6th fastest time in the state, but you're only off second place by about a second. I think it's like 1.1 seconds. So you're all kind of tightly grouped in there. Garfield's about 3 seconds ahead of everybody. They look like they're the team to beat.
Yeah.
Is finishing on the podium a real possibility for you?
Yeah, for our 4x2, that's definitely what we're going for. Garfield was awesome to compete against. We competed against them at Eason, and they're a group of really talented but also nice girls. And it's good to have them to push us, because in these Thursday meets, we don't always get that like widespread competition throughout the state. So Eason and Lake Washington were really fun for that. I think at Shorecrest is also ahead of us, and we ran against them. They didn't have their A team when we ran against them, so we're looking forward to the next 2 weeks to actually compete against them and see who can push each other harder. I think, yeah, we're just looking forward to dropping that second down. We ran a 146 right now, and we're hoping for 145 for the school record in addition to getting on that podium.
So that would be the school record. And you're
Yeah.
somebody who knows the state tournament. You've run at state all 3 of the previous years,
Yeah.
so looking to four-peat it, and you've even placed at state, so best of
Yeah.
luck there. Aaron, for you, I know both of your hurdle times, the 100 and the 300, both are in the top 10 right now for state, for the 3A level. Any particular goals for you in terms of, are you looking just for PRs? Are you looking to place in a certain spot at state? What would be your ideal finish?
I definitely want to place in the 110s. I feel like I've worked hard enough, and I think I'm running fast enough to do so. I believe I'm sitting at 4th right now in state. And in the 300, I want to make it to state. I feel like I can do it. I've been working hard, and I mean, I've dropped quite a bit of time off of my PR this season, so I'm working hard, and I hope to make it to state in both of the events. It would be great to do that.
Very nice. It would be nice to pick up another victory maybe here this weekend, too. What did you guys do to celebrate the other night, by the way? Was there any kind of, I know watching it out on the field once the trophies were announced and watching everyone get up on the podium and hold it and do the victory laps and everything. Anything in particular, any fun stories that happened later on that night? Or?
Well, some of the guys and some of the girls from the distance team went out to Buffalo Wild Wings, and we had a good time. We had wings and just hung out. We went actually shopping at Ross, too, picked up a few items. I know the distance team always loved to get, like, you know, quirky stuff for their workouts and stuff like that
Okay.
during the practices, so they obviously got some things. We'll probably see them at practice this week.
So if we want to see anyone modeling Ross clothing, we should go to your practices this
Absolutely.
week
We're-
before Wednesday, obviously. You're
Exactly.
not going to wear it at the...
Exactly. We support all Ross clothing. We're actually their models for their spring selection. So if you guys want to see
There we
that
go.
come through, yeah.
We might have to get them as a sponsor now. Ross, if you're listening. Hey, and this isn't the only sport that both of you participate in, too, right? I know, Ella, you haven't had necessarily a chance to as much because it conflicts with the track and field, but you're also a lacrosse player.
Yeah, I've done club, and I did it my sophomore year and a little bit into junior year, but with it being at the same time as track, it's just hard. And because track, I just love it so much, and I have team members depending on me, I wanted to put all my focus towards that, but I'm looking forward to do competitive lacrosse in the future.
And you are a senior, so what are your future intentions? Are you going to go off and do track in college, or where are you heading off to?
I'm heading off to WSU to study business. After 4 years of having mono and competing, I've decided that I want to give my body a break. I'm definitely still going to go run on the track and compete, and I really want to get into some intramural sports, and they do have a competitive lacrosse team, so looking forward to trying out for that. But overall, just relaxing and getting time to get healthy.
Very nice. And Aaron's only a junior, so before I ask you about college, I've had a chance to watch you play out on the gridiron from time to time over the last couple of years. Tell me about the Warrior football team coming up in the fall.
I mean, we have a great team coming out. I'm excited for this season. We obviously lost a few big players on our team, but we have some people coming to fill those spots. So I'm excited about this season. It's going to be great.
So once you're done with track, you can start getting ready and
Absolutely.
hit the weight room and
I mean, I've been in the weight room already right now. I mean, it helps with track too, so I've never been out of it. I'm always in it. So if you want to find me in there.
there you go. Always a good place to find an athlete. And then we should ask, I mean, the way you're running right now and seeing some of your athletic accomplishments, I've got to think that maybe this is something that you're going to look to take into the next level too. Are you aspiring to be a college athlete?
Yes, I want to run track in college for sure. I mean, if football can take me there too, I want to do both. But right now, track is my focus mainly.
And do we have any preferences as to where you'd like to go or what schools you might be looking at? Or is it too
Right now,
early?
I'm kind of just looking at Linfield College right now, but I'm open to expanding my view.
Yeah, definitely not a bad school there either, and I'm sure you'll do well wherever you go. Hey, again, it's been great to watch the Edmonds-Woodway team, not only at the Edmonds School District meet this past week, but also looking forward to seeing what you're capable of doing over the next few weeks. Aaron, thank you for coming in. Ella, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And absolutely, and best of luck to the Warriors. Enjoyed talking to Ella and Aaron for that interview, and we certainly wish the two of them, as well as their Edmonds-Woodway teammates, nothing but the best as they move on to the Wesco 3A South Championships this weekend, and hopefully on to state even in a couple more weeks. Speaking of the Edmonds School District Track Championship from Friday, we wanted to share a few pictures of other athletes that were also competing. We've got a Meadowdale hurdler that we want to put up first. This is Emily Mathiasen, who took 4th place in the 300 meter hurdles. And Emily's Maverick teammate, Cyrus Marshall, We've got him pole vaulting, and with his height of 13 feet, he was the winner of the school district pole vault championship, took first place. Speaking of pole vaults, the second place performer was Patrick Milam from Mountlake Terrace with a height of 12 feet 6 inches, and there's Patrick clearing the bar. And two more of Patrick's teammates from the Mountlake Terrace Hawks, Unique Boa and Alex Woodward. We see them exchanging the baton in a 4x400 race. So plenty of action going on over at the track, a lot of great performances, one of which was Devin Boss from Lynnwood, only a junior. And we mentioned earlier that Lynnwood and Edmonds-Woodway boys tied for the title. Devin was a large reason for that. He won the 100-meter, 200-meter, and he was part of the 4x100-meter team that won the championship. So 3 wins for Devin. And we brought him into the studio to talk about his performances as well as what's to come for him as we move into postseason play. Here's our interview we did with Devin. We just had our champion Edmonds-Woodway Warrior track and field athletes in. We mentioned Edmonds-Woodway tied with Lynnwood on the boys' side of things, and with us right now, a young man who had a lot to do with that, Devin Boss from Lynnwood High School. Devin, you picked up victories on Friday in the 100, the 200, the 4x100, and you took second in the 4x400. Big day for you. We'll start off by talking about the sprint races. Obviously, the 100 is always kind of the glamour race, if you will, even at the Olympic level. And you beat out your teammate, Alex Wynn. Take me through that race. I know we were kind of thinking you were the favorite going in, but until you cross that finish line, you never know, right?
Right. Like, when I went up, I was afraid that I was going to get blown out right at the start because my starts are normally really slow. And Alex's are normally, like blows me out. But I've been really practicing on my starts this week, so I got to where I wanted to get at the start of it.
Is it kind of fun for you, too, when you're able to compete at that high of a level with a teammate as opposed to somebody else? I've got to think that you and Alex are probably pretty good at pushing each other in practice. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, true. When I came into this season, I didn't really play a whole lot of track last year, so Alex was sort of new to me this season, and when he blew me out our first day of practice, I was like, all right, wow, I've been slacking, so I gotta go forward on this.
And speaking of Alex, we're going to put up a picture here. You two might have gone first and second in the 100, but in the 4x100, your teammates, and there you are right there taking the baton from him. Another victory. What's it like? Do you enjoy those victories even more so knowing you're doing it with teammates, or what's the difference?
Yeah, always. Like, knowing that our handoff was really good that day, like, it really makes me happy. Like, you have no idea. I was really worried.
And you guys did the handoff very well in that particular case and good enough for a victory. Your other win was in the 200. You edged out Elias Lynch from Meadowdale. Take me through that race. And do you have a preference? Do you like the 100 more than the 200, or do you like one of them more than the other, or is it just all the same?
I like the 100 more than the 200.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, anything. I like it. The shorter, the better for me.
Just the speed of it? Is it the quickness, the fact that it's over quicker? What is it about the 100 you like?
I don't know. I think I like that it's over quicker. I've been told that I do better in the 200, since in the 100, since it's so short, I have to get up to top speed as soon as possible. In the 200, I have a lot more time to get to that point, but I don't know. I just always like the 100 more.
And let's mention some of the other guys you're running with, too. We've already noted Alex there as far as running the 4x100 with you. Who are some of your other teammates that you ran that with in the victory run the other day on Friday?
We have Jerry Pham, who was starting us off, and then we had Tyler Dow, who was a new addition to the 4x1 team. We had to rearrange it at the start. And, of course, we have Alex. Jerry Pham, he really pushes me at the start of every meet. He sort of runs me through all the people I need to be worried about, people who have faster times than me. And yeah, he's almost like my personal coach almost.
Nice to have one of those on the team that
Yeah.
works out well, and it not only does it push you, it pushes the entire team, and you guys were able to get that tie with Edmonds-Woodway. And we should mention, I don't have the exact date, but it's been quite a few years since Lynnwood's been able to etch their name on that trophy. And the fact that you and Edmonds-Woodway are going to share it this year, what does it mean for you and your teammates knowing that you were able to accomplish that together?
It makes us really happy. You have no idea. This is our main coach's last year, and the fact that we were able to get him this, it makes me really proud of our team.
And that's Dwayne Lewis, who's been coaching for 51 years now, so he's been
Yeah.
at it for a while. How do you enjoy running for Coach Lewis? What's it been like working under him?
hilarious. It's really funny working with him. He's really chill, and he likes to joke around with us, which makes everything more easier and laid back when we run.
Put you guys at ease then when you're out there on the track.
Yeah, it does.
Very nice. And it's not just the boys, it's the girls too. And we've got a picture, Rita Sakharov, who had 4 victories the other day. She won the 110 and 300 hurdles. See her running to victory right there. And then she ran the 100 and 200. Do you guys ever have a little fun with girls versus boys at practice at all? I've got to think, obviously, Rita, one of the faster girls in the state. Do you guys ever have any kind of friendly competitions or anything like that?
Not that I know of.
But it's fun to watch those girls too. I would think, and just knowing that you guys have so much success as a collective team at the Lynnwood High School.
She blew my mind when she did the 100. I turned around and I saw her all the way in front. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, well, it looked rather easy to her, didn't it? Although I'm
Yeah.
sure it's never easy for any of you. You do have to train hard. Tell me a little bit about your training regiment. What do you do in order to get as fast as you are?
Well, I practice in the mornings a little bit before school starts with Jerry Pham, my personal coach, and I think that's the extra practice that's the only extra thing I've been doing. I try to practice on my starts as much as possible. It didn't really seem to be going anywhere until last week, where my starts have been getting better, and yeah.
Well, your time right now, I think, is in the 11:3 range. What are your goals for the future with the 100? Now that you're getting some of these starts down, do you want to get into the 11:2s, and where do you want to eventually be?
I want to be sub 10 next season. So this season I want to,
Or in the
next
10 range
few weeks-
anyway, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in the 10 range. So this season I want to get into 11:20s hopefully.
You're only a junior, so you've got a lot of time left too. Speaking of which, I know you played football your sophomore year. You sat out this year to focus on track. Any thoughts of going back to the gridiron? I'm sure a guy with your speed would make Coach Bankhead a happy man.
Yeah. I've been talking to the coaches and the football players about joining about joining football next year. They really want me to join.
And before you can do that, though, you have to finish out this season. I know the Wesco 3A South Championships are coming up this week at Edmonds Stadium, both Friday and then the finals or rather Wednesday, the preliminaries, and then the finals are on Friday. Competition starts to get a little stiffer now as you start to add in the Shorecrests and the Shorewoods. I know Joseph Williamson runs in the 11-2s, as does he's over at Shorewood. Sadath Abuda, also at Shorecrest, also runs in the 11-2s. Do you enjoy it when you get out there on the track and you know that the competition's tough, or is it more enjoyable for you when you can show up and just blow the field away? What's it like for you running with tough competition?
I think I prefer it more when I run with tough competition, because I think that's where I get most of my PRs. Seeing them in front of me makes me just drive that much harder.
Well, you'll have an opportunity this week, and then hopefully after that on to districts, and perhaps if you can get those times down a little bit to state in just a couple of weeks. Devin Boss, once again, congratulations. 3 victories on Friday night, 2 individual, 1 as a team, and then you also picked up a second in another relay. Best of luck to you moving forward, and we'll keep following Devin and his Royal teammates throughout the rest of the year.
All right, thank you for having me.
Great job by Devin, and once again, he's only a junior, so not only are we going to watch him throughout districts and into the state tournament perhaps this year, he's got another year left at Lynnwood as well. So congratulations to him on his 3 victories over the weekend. 2 other sports we want to mention before we sign off. Tennis. The Edmonds-Woodway Warrior girls picking up 2 victories over the week. They rounded out their regular season undefeated in league play. They were 10-0, 12-1 overall. And they, as well as Meadowdale and Lynnwood, will now head to the Wesco South 3A Championships, which take place on Tuesday over at Jackson High School. Mountlake Terrace, on the other hand, their girls' tennis team will be waiting until May 15th when they will head up to Seaholm in Bellingham for the 2A District Tournament. And then golf, both boys and girls in action this week in Wesco 3A South Divisional Championships. The boys will be at Walter Hall Golf Course on Monday. That's up in Everett, and that starts at 2 p.m. And the girls will be at Kayak Point in Mukilteo on Tuesday for their championships. So a lot of postseason play taking place right now. We'll have plenty more to talk about next week, as well as more interviews with some of these athletes who are just doing outstanding and wrapping up their seasons with hopefully district and possibly state championships. Stay tuned. Thanks again for watching This Week in High School Sports. My name is Steve Willits. We'll talk to you again next week.